Hey YouTube, Brian, LCS. Thanks for stopping by the channel and this video. What is the oldest comic book shop in the United States? Stay tuned to find out. As comic book collectors, I'm sure we all love our comic shops. But what's the oldest comic book shop in the United States? Unfortunately, there's not a lot of good data on the topic. I went and searched the CGC boards, Google, individual blogs. Here's what I found. There are roughly 2,500 comic shops in the United States as of 2023. But unfortunately, most shops only get recognized in the news when they are closing. One of the first documented comic book collectors and sellers was Harvey "Pop" Hollinger. Pop opened a secondhand store in Kansas in 1933. By 1939, transitioned to selling mainly periodicals and comic books. Pop Hollinger ran his used comic book store from 1939 until 1971. Pop bought and sold old comic books throughout the Golden and Silver Ages. Hollinger entered into the comics trade through his retail store and expanded into mail order. Originally a side business, he became so successful that he began working on ways to trade comic books and began experimenting with restoration methods. His restoring attempts included using tape and staples, and were primarily done to enhance the longevity of the comic book. Hollinger referred to the process as rebuilding, and to the comic books as rebuilt comics. Here are some of the oldest documented comic book shops in the United States. First is Victory Thrift Shop. This was opened in Queens, New York in the early 1960s by Robert Bell. He initially sold secondhand items and gradually moved to comics. The Victory Thrift Shop had a true storefront. Cherokee Comic Book Shop was opened in the early 1960s in Hollywood, California. It sold books, other printed materials, and comics. Seven Sons Comic Shop was opened in 1968 in San Jose, California. This was the first store to sell only comics, but not new ones, just back issues. San Francisco Comic Book Company was opened later in 1968 in San Francisco, California. It was one of the first stores to sell new and back issues of comics. In my home state of South Carolina, Silver City Comics is one of the oldest comic book sellers in the country, and even in the Southeast. It's been in existence for over 60 years, but unfortunately it closed in 2017. So that leaves us with Golden Age Collectibles. It is considered the oldest comic book shop in the world, founded in 1961 in Seattle, and then purchased by the current owner, Robert Dyke, in 1971. They sell new and vintage comics, manga, collectibles, figures, Funko Pops, board games, movie scripts, vintage Star Wars toys, posters, and so much more. I know Philtastic Comics and Art recently mentioned that Fat Moose Comics is the oldest comic book shop in his home state of New Jersey. What about you? Do you know what the oldest comic book shop is in your area, in your state? Let me know. Drop me a comment. Let me know. Is it Golden Age Collectibles? Are they truly the oldest comic book shop in the United States, founded in 1961? Like I said, leave me a comment. Let me know. I'd love to hear from you and kind of keep this discussion going. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.